Okay, good afternoon and welcome to this week's All in the Mishpacha. Over here you see Big Brother is scanning, supposed to be a cell phone, maybe a kosher phone, with the Chinese flag. Primarily talks about TikTok, how over 150 million Americans use TikTok, and primarily the parent company of TikTok is a Chinese company, ByteDance, and a lot of the users' information is given over to the Chinese government, the communist Chinese government. I read the article. It talks about not just through TikTok, but the surveillance that China has over its own citizens. It even has a rating system, whether you're considered trustworthy, average, or untrustworthy. Uh, if I was in China, I don't know if I'd be considered trustworthy. I mean, if I was in China, I would be trustworthy because it would serve my benefits. The best possible life I would lead would be a trustworthy person. Why would I want to get in trouble with the government? But anyone who says something controversial, against the Chinese government would be considered something untrustworthy. And it's very hard for you to get a good education, to get jobs if you're considered untrustworthy. Listen, China plays by its own rules. I have nothing to do with China. China, let them do whatever they want. I mean, I don't really care. What I want to talk about this week is something that I've noticed over the past couple of weeks in Mishpacha magazine. It's really about Mishpacha magazine and how it operates. Obviously, Mishpacha magazine, they want to entertain you, they want to educate you, but at the end of the day, it's a business, just like any other business. And I don't think it's a non-profit organization. It's a for-profit organization. They're making money off of this. I'm sure it costs a lot of money to produce the magazine, have, people that write for the magazine. They have to pay, a staff to put out, I don't know, 150 page, just even this. They put out also a woman's part, family first, and a kid's part. So they're coming up with 250 to 300 pages of, of magazine with, with graphics and organization and editing and people writing for them. It's a huge budget. They currently charge, for my subscription, I'm being charged 103 shekel a month. It's like 25 shekel magazine. And they actually have the price here in New York, New Jersey to $8. $8 for a magazine is a lot of money, but people pay for it. It's the most widely read from publication by far. I think it beats out Ami magazine. I think the quality of Mishpacha magazine is much better than Ami magazine. I don't particularly like Ami magazine. I feel it's sort of unprofessional. I think Mishpacha magazine does a really professional job. Of course, a lot of the hashkafa that I believe in is a little different than Mishpacha, but there's definitely overlap. So I read Mishpacha because something else, no other entertainment on Shabbos, so I can't use my smartphone. So this is what I have on Shabbos, and I like to read sometimes. Some of the articles are interesting. Some of them I don't even look at because I won't be interested in. Especially ones about the Gedolim and Red Rabbanim, because I feel like any article about Rabbanim or Gedolim automatically is skewed in terms of, they don't tell you all the facts, or they don't tell you just the simple way of telling you the facts. I always skew it and say, oh, this is done in this way because it's a good thing or a positive thing, or he meant this way or that way. If they would write about Gedolim, I have no problem reading about it. Just give me an honest account of their lives or what they did, and just tell the facts, without giving an opinion, telling me how to think. But again, this is, overseen by Rabbanim, which I'd like to talk about today is a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, they featured something about a real estate program, education to invest in real estate. A lot of people make a lot of money, they need more money. A great way to earn a big parnassa is to have a real estate portfolio. If you step into it and you actually invest time into, learning about real estate and how to make money, it is a pretty easy way to make money, like a lot of money. But again, it's a lot of hassle. I prefer, the stock market and things like that because it's much less hassle. You have to really own a property, and, so you have to deal with mortgages and real estate brokers and, actually documents and, loans and things like that. So it's more complicated, real estate. But they had an education course, and when they first put it out, I wasn't sure if it was an advertisement or it was actually an article in Mishpacha magazine. And a couple people wrote back in the next week. They're like, "Is this an advertisement or is this like an article over here? Like Mishpacha magazine feels it's important for you to know about this real estate education program." And it really was kind of confusing. The next week they wrote on the bottom a project of Mishpacha magazine, meaning that obviously this real estate program paid money to Mishpacha magazine to feature it in their in their magazine. Now I have no problems with a magazine running advertisements. I mean that's the way to profit. That's the way to make money. You make something readable, you make something people want to read, and you put advertisements in there like every other business in the world, entertainment business, TV, movies, all these things, all these streaming services, magazines, they're all newspapers, they all have it. That's the main revenue stream is advertisements. I have no problem if you designate it and people know it's clear it's advertisement. People were obviously upset because it wasn't clear it was advertisement. When people are reading the journalism of Mishpacha magazine, when they're reading an article, for example, about the Chinese government and what it does, surveillance over China and the rest of the world, they're taking the journalists, they're observing the concept of China behind, from the journalist's pen. They want to get, a story, the inside scoop about what's going on in China. It's not written with any agendas. I don't think American government paid Mishpacha magazine to say this stuff about China, how, the surveillance of their own people and of the world through TikTok and things like that. So I don't think it was sponsored by America. And you would hope that, articles in a magazine or a newspaper or something like that would be for the entertainment purpose. And, because Mishpacha, the writers, felt it was interesting to tell you this story, just, straight up, not, with any other, other motives. But last week's cover was kind of startling for me. Last week they had a cover of something about the shidduch crisis, a long, lonely wait or something like that, and they had a whole feature article. They dedicated the cover and the main article to the shidduch crisis. Now, when you're writing about the shidduch crisis, you can write about the shidduch crisis, tell me the facts about the shidduch crisis, tell me, what different people's perspectives on it. The problem is it was written really as the beginning and the foundation for a project called the Shidduch Initiative, which is a new project by 3 people from Muncie, I'm not exactly sure, one's from Lakewood, where they're coming together and they're giving mass surveys to the Jewish population to find out what the tendencies of the Jewish population is in terms of shidduchim, in order to find out what the problem is, and once they figure out what the problem is, hopefully to fix the problem, whatever it is. When I was reading the article, I was expecting an article like, where they explore the concept of shidduchim and some of the potential problems, in different people's perspective on why this is a problem or not. But it wasn't presented that way. It was presented, as the initiative of these 3 people. They got together, they made one phone call, another phone call, and then, it's sort of like reading an advertisement for their shidduch initiative. They laid out with 4 possible potential problems after speaking to shadchanim, and this is what they're doing. They're trying to discuss it and trying to send out surveys, and they hope that as many people respond. So then the day I'm scratching my head, I'm thinking about it like, is this, did these people, Shidduch Initiative was started by obviously people who are Askanim, who have a lot of money probably, nothing better to do with their time. So, when you have with so much money, nothing better to do with your time, where do you go? Right? You go for more power. You want to control, you want to solve the shidduch crisis, you do the good of you, even Elon Musk, for the good of humanity. When people start saying the good of humanity, it means they just want more money. They just want more power. I mean, I find it kind of funny. People search for billions and billions of dollars. Just quit. You have $100 billion. You can't even think about what you're going to do with that. People do for the good of humanity. Listen, there is such a thing as good of humanity, being like God. But that's really what it is. I want to be like God. Money is power, and for power, really, money is power. And it's, for feeling of power, the more money you earn, the more powerful you feel. Even though you'll be a workaholic, you won't enjoy life. So, these Askanim, listen, I'm not saying, I don't know who the Askanim are. Maybe they're just regular people. I don't know. But it seemed to me like these people were paying Mishpacha magazine to make up a cover, right? They gave up their front page cover, right? They advertise, the back page. The back page is maybe the most expensive advertisement, because I did call it Mishpacha magazine when I was starting my YouTube channel, and I wanted to find out different prices, maybe advertising Mishpacha magazine. It was very expensive, prohibited cost to just even get like a quarter of a page ad. But the back page, Piaget, this Simpson, I don't know, Jewelers always gets the back page. They pay a fortune of money for it. But everyone knows the advertisement. Also, front cover, the inside front cover this one is, I don't know, some Shabbos Project Inspire. And, usually the back cover also. They used to give it to the Kichel, but you can give it for more money. You got another Pesach program over here at the Armon Kapanash of Cedarhurst. The point is that, those pages are worth a lot of money. But the front page, I never expected to be sold. And it seems to me, listen, I could be wrong. I'm not going to say something for sure, but I'm giving my opinion. What it seems to me from reading the magazine and reading the article and the follow-up this week where they followed up with people's reactions to the article, and they put advertisements for the Shidduch Initiative over there. It seems sort of like a partnership almost between Mishpacha Magazine and the Shidduch Initiative. They pay them some extra money. Mishpacha Magazine is probably looking to make more money. Listen, there are a lot of people on their payroll, and they want to make more money. They want to be more lucrative. Inflation, America is going up crazy here around the world in general. People need more money. So it's sort of like, okay, we'll do a partnership with you. We'll even rent out the front page and the main article in Mishpacha Magazine. And this week was the third time I saw this. And listen, I could be wrong about these things, but it seems to me, and this time they even admitted it was a partnership. Here it is, a new thing. It's called Money Talks 2.0, exclusive bites from the Kosher Money Podcast. If you don't know what the Kosher Money Podcast is, you could read the article. It's from a YouTube channel, Living L'Chaim, maybe the biggest from YouTube channel there is. Their main show is called Kosher Money, where one of the hosts sits down with some professional in the Orthodox Jewish field and talks usually about problems that Orthodox Jews face with relating to money and, ways to help alleviate those problems or to help you fix those problems. I have my own show on my channel called Jewish Money. Obviously it's not as popular as Kosher Money, not even close. But I named it Jewish Money. Originally I called it Glock Kosher Money, but these people actually they sent an email to me. They say you can't use Glock Kosher Money because it's too similar to Kosher Money. Apparently they have a word trademark on Kosher Money. I didn't know you could have a word trademark on Kosher Money, but they were upset that I was using Glock Kosher Money. Of course, the reason I was using it was just, I'm a small channel and I wanted to get people, when they search, my videos will pop up, otherwise how are people going to find my videos? So you come with a similar name, search engine optimization. They call it Kosher Money. I call it Glock Kosher Money. The ideas that I was presenting, the discussion I have on my show has nothing to do with what they do. What they do is try to talk about the problems that people have with money, specifically in the Orthodox Jewish community, and how to fix those problems. Mine is really for entertainment purposes and really talks about it the opposite. Just pointing at the foibles of people with money. I really am dealing with the ultra-Orthodox community because that's where I live. They're more from like mainstream, I guess, Hamish American community. So, my thing, the reason I called it Glock Kosher Money was sort of like, people Glock Kosher food, but they don't eat Glock Kosher. Their money is definitely not Glock Kosher, maybe not kosher. So that was the whole point. The whole point was to show that people aren't very careful with their money in terms of doing the right thing. Specifically in the ultra-Orthodox community. I mean, it applies to other people, businessmen as well, but that's the access I have over here. So it has nothing to do with them. But it says over here that they, so when we were offered the opportunity to partner with the team at Kosher Money / Living Smart Jewish / Living L'Chaim, we grabbed the chance. Okay, they grabbed the chance. Apparently it's going to be, here they said, here at Mishpacha, we feel privileged to serve as a forum for discussion on topics affecting the community and to provide a platform for both entertainment and education. And this new column will feature highlights of the Kosher Money podcast episodes, as well as additional material exclusive to Mishpacha, bonus questions, extras to the interviewees with concrete advice and tips presented in dynamic, interactive format. We want to hear from you. Send us your thoughts, feedback, and questions for the experts, and let us know what you want to hear. And, they have a picture of this guy, Naftali Horowitz, who was, I guess, the most famous episode they had on Kosher Money. Someone who was, a financial advisor to very rich people. And they have basically snippets from some of the conversations. I didn't really read through it, most of it, Again, I'm not so interested in the Kosher Money podcast. It is competition for me, but, it's not really the type of stuff I would put out. I'm not here to educate people or to help people. I'm here to entertain people. Even all my daf yomi shiurim and my my Torah shiurim, you know, I'm branding myself. That's it. It's special to learn Torah from me because my unique personality. So all my shows are about my personality and they're about me and my opinions in the forefront. So it's not about helping people, educating people. My sole goal in my channel is to entertain people because I enjoy that also. If I'm just educating somebody, so I'm doing it for other people, and when I do something, I'm not going to waste my time doing things for other people, even to make money, because I feel, it feels empty. You want to feel something that you're going to enjoy doing. When you entertain people, you enjoy it. You enjoy entertaining people. So that's why I do it. Even though I don't have so many subscribers or followers right now, I'm not earning a dime from my channel yet, but I do it because I enjoy it. I enjoy giving the shiurim. I enjoy things. That's why even though I get no views on shiur, a lot of shiurim, I'll just keep on giving them because for me it's fun. It gives me something to do and it's enjoyable for me. And of course I have the business perspective in life that I want to earn, make this a big business, and I'm branding myself. That's I don't have to trademark myself because there's only one Ben Zion Lang. There will only ever be one Ben Zion Lang. I believe my personality is unique, my humor is unique, and you can't top it. So that's really what I'm doing. I have tons of different topics I cover, but what's interesting to me about this thing is that they're partnering with them, which basically means we were given the opportunity. It sounds to me, I could be wrong. I'm not gonna make assumptions, but it sounds to me like Kosher Money is paying them money to get prominence in their pages. Now I have no problem with Kosher Money, or any podcast or any organization wants to put an advertisement. That's common, that's normal, because we know what's an advertisement, what's not. But now they're taking, it's like 6-7 pages, maybe every magazine, every edition, and they're donating it, they're selling it to, whatever Kosher Money podcast or Living L'Chaim podcast they want to tell you. So it's sort of like deceiving a little bit because you think it's objective Mishpacha magazine writers, telling you or educating you the way, they see it, but they're really being influenced by this podcast and whatever ideas, they want to give over, or any, they want to help. Obviously they're doing it to help their YouTube channel and help their podcast and help their business. Listen, I'm not going to say for sure. I'm not going to accuse someone that not guilty. This is what it seems to me. It's not just based on this. It's based on last week, and it's based on this real estate project. And I see a lot in it. It's very sad for me to see this because, you're deceiving a lot of people, At least to say it's sponsored content. You go in Yeshiva World News or something like that. I put advertisements on Yeshiva World News, and, it says like Ian with Ben Zion, the best Ian share ever, But it says sponsored content. People know that I paid money to have my story featured on Yeshiva World News. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like an advertisement, I happen to be on YouTube and I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I see two things which are disturbing to me. One thing which is a little disturbing to me is, this is like the new type of affiliate marketing. People have YouTube channels. You don't earn that much money with ad revenue on YouTube. They don't give you that much money. Let's say for 1,000 views, you're going to get maybe $2 to $5, which is not that much. So you got to be putting out videos that have 1 million views. 1 million views, let's say, would get you, $5,000. Something like that. That would be good if you can put out, a video a week at $5,000, $20,000 a month. It's pretty good, right? $240,000 a year. That's pretty good, but it's hard to do. It's very hard to get 1 million views on a video. Even though it's Kosher Money, I think their biggest video had 1 million views. So most of their videos have like 10 or 20,000 views. So it's hard to do that. You don't make so much money off of that. What you make the money is affiliate marketing, where, other companies, depending on your niche, whatever topic you're addressing, they feel you're getting, 10, 20,000 views, let's say, your established YouTube channel. So they're going to pay you money to run an ad. Now, I have no problem running an ad and say, okay, now we're going to pause for an ad from our sponsors. We're saying this is sponsored by, this and this, company, or this and that. They partner, a lot of these from channels partner with yeshivas or, or Hatsala or things like that, nonprofit organizations, because a lot of the people watching it are from community. I have no problem when you do that, but sometimes it's not just the from. I used to watch this Arock channel. He's a YouTuber that just like took off. He went from like zero to like a million in like 1 year, and now he thinks he's at 10 million. He's gonna fizzle out. I mean, he does weird, crazy stuff. But I remember seeing in the beginning when he was becoming popular, like he would take, companies would sponsor his video, and he'd start talking about like this credit card, new credit card. I use it. It's the best credit card ever. And like it was obvious that he'd probably never heard of this credit card before until they called him the sponsor. He never used it before, you know. And a lot of these YouTube creators, I think I've even seen it on the Jewish podcast. I don't know, Kosher Money or the other ones, where they start talking about, the different, sponsors and saying, this is the best program ever. Like, I've used it and my friends have used it. We're all using it. And it's not truthful. That maybe they used it after they did it, or maybe they tried it, they didn't like it, but not all their friends are using it, and not everyone in the world is using it, and they're overhyping it. In fact, I was paid once. I wasn't paid. I was asked by a friend once to do sort of a promotion for. He wanted to put out a Torah app or something like that, and I recorded a short video for it. I didn't want to do it because it's not something I believe in. His Torah app, won't have. He'll have native videos, not links to YouTube, because he wants it to be kosher and things like that. And I was starting to talk about. I tried to do promotion for it. I was talking about, yeah, I really believe in this, but I don't believe it. I don't agree with it. It's not something I agree with it. And I tried it, and I don't think he's gonna use what I gave him. But I made a decision at that time that if anyone's gonna call me to promote something on my channel, it's gonna be if it's gonna be something that I've never used, or I don't know what it is, or or I've used and I don't like it. I'll say, listen, you can put it on my channel, but I'll say, listen, now we pause for a break from our sponsors. You can put whatever, make your commercial, send it to me. I'll put it in the middle of the video. But I'm not going to start talking about a product or a service that either I've used and I don't like and I don't believe in, or I've never even used, I don't even know what it is, and start talking about the greatest thing, because that's lying. I don't like deceiving people. I'm a truthful person. So that's one level, right? But this is even worse. This is worse, where you're taking the entire magazine, which is, right, the whole point of this magazine is to educate, entertain you on Shabbos, primarily. They give you reading material that the writers, right, feel these are important topics to talk about, right? Why? Because they're creating a buzz in the Jewish community, or they've heard about an interesting story. They're going and they're finding out the story, like any good journalist, to find out a story. But when the journalism is now being affected, you can buy it. All the articles in Mishpacha magazine, they decide what they write based on who pays them the most money. So let's say I could pay them a lot of money and they write an article on me, Mishpacha magazine. I would feel that's wrong to do that. Obviously it has to be justifiable. Someone that has, to write an article about me. I don't think anyone's heard about me, but someone like Kosher Money, people have heard about their podcast. So it works. It makes sense. But I think it's a little misleading. Now, I could be wrong. It could be they didn't take any money for them. And they just, felt it was mutually beneficial to both parties to do this. And they felt the educational value of Kosher Money. The magazine believed in it. The editors of the magazine believed in Kosher Money, or what they were telling you. That's fine. It could be. It's possible. I'm not shutting that door. But it seems to me that the trend is to take on money, to take a lot of money, probably, because it's obviously costs a lot more money than just writing, even on the back cover, to get a front cover, and we're giving the lead story about your initiative, about your podcast. It seems a lot deceiving, and ruins the authenticity of Mishpacha magazine. Really, it ruins the brand, to be honest with you. If people were to know about this, people listen to this video and they agree with me, could be I'm completely wrong, but I know it happened at least once when it comes to the real estate program, where they had to correct themselves. So it seems to me these last two things also were in a similar vein. If it's true, I hope it's not true, but it's pretty sad that they're basically renting out their pages to the highest bidder. It's very sad. It reminds me when the NBA, I love basketball, I love sports, and one of the beautiful things about sports, as opposed to other types of, like politics or things like that. Politicians don't have their own views. It's not authentic, right? Most politicians, they just say whatever people want to hear so they get elected to office. But sports doesn't have that. Sports is authentic, right? You want to believe, not like wrestling, right? Wrestling is all staged, we know. I don't know why people even watch wrestling. They just had WrestleMania or whatever, Royal Rumble. But, I don't find that entertaining because it's staged. When there's something authentic, something happens impromptu, happens in real life, one team facing against another team with real referees. I know some referees are sometimes paid off, but in general, it's a pretty fair game, and that's what makes sports so intriguing and enjoyable to watch. But to see, and that's why they banned Pete Rose from the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest hitters of all time. He bet on sports. He lost that authenticity of the game, right? He damaged it. So it's a really grievous thing. The White Sox, when they rigged the World Series, 19 whatever 1919, I don't know when it was. That was terrible because he ruined the authenticity of sports. It doesn't make sports so special. And you watch the Australia NBL, which is the NBA in Australia. You see on the court, the whole court has like advertising. It's not just the NBL actually. I think about like even like the Premier League, the best soccer league in England. I think the jerseys, they say Emirates or something like that, United Emirates, the airline or something like that. When you write on the jersey, you don't write the name of the team. It's more prominent the name of the advertisement on the jersey. At least the game is authentic. We'd like to believe, but it ruins it when you write the entire jersey. You want to see the name of the team. You want to see the name of the player, his number. So the NBA, it's not so bad yet. They have basically the team, that's the most prominent thing, and the player, they just have a small little patch. I think a number of years ago they started selling it to advertisers, and most of the court, is actually, has the logos of the basketball team and the home team. But I think we're trending toward a time where it's going to be sold. Everything is commercialized. Everything is bought, and right when you have all over the court advertisements like this NBL, I compare with the NBA, they just have like the center court is like it's like a car company or something like that, and like food companies at the foul line. It's like, what am I watching over here? I mean, obviously, hopefully the game is authentic. I mean, but once the game not feel authentic, the game is staged, and you realize people are cheating. That ruins everything. And unfortunately, it seems like Mishpacha magazine is being bought to the highest bidder, sold to the highest bidder, and you're not getting authentic journalism anymore. You're just getting the story and of the highest bidder and exactly the way they want to portray it, not an objective way someone would portray it, which is really the problem with Gedolim stories. Also in Gedolim articles, is that, that's for a different reason. They skew it in favor of Sidkus, or he did the right thing in order not to portray Gedolim in a bad light. I don't know why it's okay. The Torah is very obvious. The Torah talks about some of the sins of even the greatest forefathers, about Yehuda and Tamar and things like that. And it talks about these things in open light and tells you the mistakes that some of the Avos made. But when it comes to Gedolim nowadays, we can't say even the slightest negative thing about them. It's kind of sad and it's not authentic. That's why Gedolim books are not fun to read. And I don't read the Gedolim articles in the magazine. Anything about Torah or about Gedolim is skewed, to believe that it's the best and noblest thing, when it's not given on an honest forum and, to talk about from both sides. Yes, there's pros, but there's also negatives. So do the pros outweigh the negatives, or the negatives outweigh the pros, So I think that's fair discussion. And unfortunately, the best Jewish reading material that we have hopefully won't continue this trend where it seems to me it's going to be bought. The whole magazine is bought, and it's just telling you the views and the stories of the biggest advertisers. It's very sad to me, and to deceive people, right? So we partner with them. They'll say, "Oh, we told you we partner with them." No one understands. We partner with them means they paid us money to do that. If they said they paid us big money to write about the Sheikh initiative, they paid us big money to write about Kosher Money podcast, people would take it in a very different way. They obviously wrote in a very a covert way where people, they partner with it, mutually beneficial for both of them. But I think personally that there's money involved, and I hope there's not. I hope I'm wrong, but it's very sad that this direction Mishpacha magazine is going in, and what can I say? I hope it doesn't continue. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. See you next week.